The best hour you ever did on television was what?
Nay, I know not. I think probably because there are too many categories. Certainly Hepburn was remarkable, but then there are other kinds of shows where a show on alcoholism would at the time seem like the best show we ever did, and people would write and say it saved my life and stuff like that. But the Lunts Noel Coward was certainly nowhere near the bottom.
No, Jack Parr says the best hour he's ever seen, or best 90 minutes he's ever seen on television.
Bless you for knowing that. I didn't know whether to quote it or not.
There is also this one. Take a look. This is a famous argument when Norma Mailer and Gore Vidal were there with New Yorker writer Janet Flanner. Take a look.
The good thing about him is his constant metamorphosis. He does re-bear himself like the phoenix, and what the next incarnation will be, I don't know.
Well, you seem to have me figured out as the next reincarnation for me is going to be Charles Manson.
Well, you let yourself...
Why don't you read what you wrote?
You let yourself in for it, and I will tell you, I'll give a little background here, that Mailer has
We all know that I stabbed my wife many years ago. We do know that, Gore. You were playing on that. Now, come on.
I'm not to forget about it. Listen,
well, no, you don't want to forget about it. You're a liar and a hypocrite. You were playing on it.
But that wasn't a liar or a hypocrisy. I wasn't going to talk about it.
The fact of the matter is that people who read the New York Review of Books know perfectly well. They know all about it. And it's your subtle little way of doing it. You know, the New Yorker once...
Oh, I'm beginning to see what bothers you now. Okay, I'm getting the point.
Are you ready to apologize?
I would apologize if it hurts your feelings. Of course I would.
No, it hurts my sense of intellectual pollution.
Well, I must say, as an expert, you should know about that.
I would like to... Yes, well, I've had to smell your works from time to time, and that has helped me to become an expert on intellectual pollution, yes.
Yeah, well, let's... I was going to say, I was not going to...
Men insult each other, not only in public, but you act as if you were in private. That's the odd way.
It's the art of television, isn't it?
It's very odd that you act as if you were the only people here.
Aren't we?
They are here. He's here. I'm here. And I'm becoming very, very bored.
My... You still haven't told me whether you're Gore's manager or the referee.
If you make history here by punching a lady...
I won't have it.
Now, look, you see the sort of thing that goes on. Now you say if I make history by punching a lady. You know perfectly well that I'm the gentlest of the four people here.
I just hope it lasts through the next whatever we have left.
I guarantee you I wouldn't hit any of the people here because they are smaller.
In what ways?
Intellectually. Intellectually smaller.
Well, let me turn my chair and join these three. Perhaps you'd like 2 more chairs to contain your giant intellect.
I'll take the 2 chairs if you will all accept finger bowls.
Yeah, what?
Finger bowls.
What does that mean? I don't understand. I want to know, and then I will respond accordingly. We'll accept finger bowls. To do what in?
Think about it.
Who wants to grab this on our team? No, I nearly have it. It means something to me. Finger bowls. Finger bowls. Things you dip your fingers in after you've gotten them filthy from eating. Am I on the right track? Am I warm?
Why don't you look at your question sheet and ask a question? Hey, can I talk to the audience for a moment?
Why don't you fold it 5 ways and put it where the moon don't shine?
Now, just take me back to that moment.
Okay. What happened that night was that both Norman and Gore were booked, of course, and the great Janet Flanner. They had been kind of rivals and friends all along. Mailer and Vidal were about the same age, and I think Gore said on a show once that when I run into Mailer, he said, we're like two old whores. Are you still at it, Gore? He said, yeah, you still at it, Norm, and so forth. Well, that all changed a good bit when Norman stopped off at several watering places on the way to the studio.
On the way to this studio.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when he came out, it was with a kind of the cartoon pugilist walk that he does where the arms are carried about here. Nobody really foresaw entirely what was coming. He was bitterly sore about a piece Gore had written about him in the New York Review of Books, in which Gore produced a mechanism called 3M, Miller, Mailer, Manson, or 3M Man, the modern man who deals in violence and worships it and so forth. And Mailer resented being in there.
Now,
Strange that he would, because it was he who reminded us that he stabbed his wife, not Gore or anybody else. Oh, that's where that...
why was Janet there?
Just as an interesting guest who was in the country, and I had always read Genet, thinking it was a man in the New Yorker all those years, and somebody said, wait till you see Janet Flanner. She is the goods. And she certainly was. It was like a great character actress, the way she threw that little kiss to Norman in the midst of that laugh. I didn't learn until even later that well, actually, that night, leaving with Gore, he said, Mailer was crazy. He came into the room and butted his head into mine and nearly knocked me back over. Norman was into macho headbutting at that time. We all remember how fun that used to be.
Yes, of course. I remember my period. You remember your period? I was not more than 5 years ago that I was into that headbutting stuff.
Well, I'm glad we've stopped that. But he did, and he so clearly he was hoping to precipitate something, and he certainly did. And the thing that pissed me off, I think, is the modern expression, is why don't you just read the next question off the question sheet?
Oh, man, I saw your eyes looking at that.
And I wanted to say, because I remember Jack Parr saying, kid, when you do a show, don't interview people, make it a conversation. Well, and that, in its essence, is really the key to it. It's going best. Yeah. We all have our helps here. We like to look at them, and so it's foolish not to, but gee, nobody quite expected that. I had the fun, however.
But you paused a while. Was that dramatic moment, or was that searching for the right comeback?
I don't know. At that moment, I can't tell you why those words came to mind or where I ever heard them before. Yeah. I have no idea. Are they part of? They're not part of Nebraska folklore. They're not part of the tribal memory.
You never used it before?
I had never spoken those words or remembered ever having heard them. And I always hate to have, as any art, when it's misquoted, when people say stick it for put it and get the wrong verb and everything in there. The Germans interviewed me on their television and were so precise and so interested in their scientific way of this. He said, Mr. Cavett, perhaps you could tell us what we just, for our viewers, they said in German. I was doing an interview in German to get my money back for my intensive German course at Yale. And perhaps you would übersetzen, the line that got the big laugh. And what I came up with was, falten Sie es 5-mal und stecken Sie es dabei, wo der Mond nicht scheint. And if you can say it without clicking your heels, you're a better man than I am. Sounds a little better in German, but I don't know why. Mailer, a year later, said, is that something you'd had reserved? Yeah. No, he said it on the show. It's Cavett, on your word of honor. Is that something you had canned? You've had canned for years, and you want to bring it in the show? You just had it, you've had it canned? And I said, no. I said, I should have to tell you a quote from Tolstoy. Another irreverence on my part. Yes. And that got another... Norman was on the fly about that point, ready to get out the door.
What did Janet say to you?
Let's see, I'm not sure. In there?
Yeah.
She leaned over at one point and said, what did he say? She had missed something that he said. And, yes. No, I don't think it's on that clip. Yeah, there is a moment where, you're right, there's a moment where Norman complains that he tries to do his work and he tries to get out in public and he tries to do this, and people keep kicking him in the nuts. And she said, what did he say? And I said, they kick him in the nuts! Knowing that this would get a big laugh.
How much do
your audience didn't seem to find it funny. We have 800 people
at home, they're loving it.